warroomsports.com. Get that mobile app.
What's going on, football fans, and welcome to another edition of Field Vision, brought to you, as usual, by the fellas at War Room Sports in conjunction with the fellas at Sports Kings. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Devin, and I'm here at the round table this evening with the brother B. Austin. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
All right. We got Jimmy the Blueprint.
Yo, I just want to say shout out and thank you to all our sponsors, because I don't budge unless I benefit.
All right, and from Sports Kings, we got one of the co-founders of this program here. We got Arby in the building. What's going on, Justin?
Not much. First show back, I wasn't going to come back till the Raiders won a game, but I ain't trying to take the whole season off.
So instead of not coming back, you just come back in your Raiders mask. Your Raiders embarrassment mask. All right, but look, man, let's get into a few quick topics, and then we'll talk about things. I know, one of the biggest stories in football, you know, no matter what people want to hear about and what they say they don't want to hear about, of course, it's the Dallas Cowboys taking that loss on Monday night to Washington. Now, fellas, during this game, Tony Romo injured his back. They say it's not, you know, related to the back injury that he had surgery on a few times during the offseason. But what do you guys think? How damaging is this loss? Because, you know, fans like to overreact. I'm already hear people saying, well, the Cowboys started their December swoon a little bit early. Do you think it's that damaging of a loss where it's going to, you know, be a chain reaction into something? Or do you just think the cliche stands? When you have a rivalry game, you throw records out the window.
I agree with that. I think when you have a rivalry game, you know, it's a division game, rivalry game, so I didn't think they would come in there and just, you know, walk over the Redskins, even though I still think the Redskins stink. But with that being said, they do have another game coming up, which is tough. They could lose that game, and then you're really going to hear it. I mean, at the end of the day, people love the Cowboys too much, and people hate them too much. So it is what it is. Either way, it's going to be over the top. I stand somewhere in the middle. I still think they have the ability to, you know, win the entire conference. The conference isn't that tough. But injuries, I mean, it's the thing about the NFL. Anyone can get hurt on any play, so they just got to remain healthy. But at the end of the day, it was a division game. They lost. That's not the end of their season. Some people say it's the end of their season. They're starting their December swoon. I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, it could be, it couldn't be. But after one game, you really can't make that kind of judgment. I mean, that's ridiculous.
That's kind of along the lines of what I'm thinking because, you know, the Cowboys are tough. I mean, a lot of people didn't want to believe that they were tough in the first place, not because they didn't see it with their own eyes, just because we know, you know, the Cowboys are one of the most polarizing franchises out there. So people didn't want to see it, so they just spoke it into disbelief instead of speaking it into belief. But I agree with Jimmy in saying it's one game. It's against a rival. It's a game that you don't want to blow because you have a tough game coming up, like the Arizona Cardinals. But at the same time, you know, losing that is not the end of the season. Even losing 2 in a row, you know, to the Cardinals is not the end of the season. But this Washington game could be one, you know, when it's all said and done, when the seedings, you know, are all said and done, it could be one that they look back on saying, okay, we let that go. But at the same time, you know, it could be damaging depending on the status of Tony Romo. He's day-to-day at this point. They said the injury is not season-threatening, but we'll see. You know, back injuries tend to linger. And if you guys remember when I wrote my quarterback rankings in the beginning of the season, my ranking with Tony Romo was contingent upon him being able to finish the season because back injuries are no joke.
You know, obviously, as a fan of an NFC East team, I am genetically predisposed to hate everything relating to the Cowboys, Texas Stadium, Tom Landry's hat, Jerry Jones. Well, I like Jerry Jones. I appreciate what he does for the rest of the league in terms of keeping them in mediocrity. But, folks, objectively, the Cowboys are a very good football team at this point. They're not great. They're not a true contender. By my estimations, because of some of the challenges and obstacles that I saw in that game. I'm not gonna say. Sometimes I believe in that whole rivalry game and division opponent, but let's face it, the Washington Redskins ain't ish. So for a good team to lose to a team that ain't ish, that's a problem. And so, the problems that I saw, they went back to passing the ball a little bit too much. I thought they could have given the tailback the ball a little bit more. DeMarco Murray should have gotten a few more carries, especially with the fact that a bad team, one of the things that a bad team does that can't get pressure on the quarterback is they sell out and they over blitz. And the Washington Redskins really were over blitzing. And the mistake that I saw, the mistake that I saw the Cowboys make was if Romo's not going to adjust to that and call installed hot reads or hit those hot reads, then you've got to shift the protection to be able to slow those blitzes down. And he took a pummeling that game. It wasn't just the play where he got injured on. Like that whole game, I think he got sacked 7 times. The Redskins don't get that much pressure to get 7 sacks or 6 sacks or whatever it was. They don't get enough pressure. So I saw that.
You say bad coaching.
Yeah, I would say bad coaching. That was a coaching mistake. If Romo doesn't have the power authority to change the plays to the fact that the blitz is coming and reading that, then the coach has to shift protection or go back to protect.
So you have to put some of that. You have to put
some of that is on Romo. Some of that is on Romo. He was getting body slammed. He was getting body slammed that game. So I definitely saw it. And then defensively, the Washington Redskins, one of the strengths of their Washington professional football team, one of the strengths of their team is their wide receiver. Their wide receivers, that core isn't a bad core, even though the team is bad. And they got busy a little bit. I think, having Colt McCoy kind of hampered them. If they had a true blue real quarterback, they probably would have torn that Dallas secondary apart. So I noticed there, and their tight ends were getting busy. So I saw some weaknesses. I think what we saw from this game was exposure of Dallas to what their weaknesses are. So good teams and good defensive coordinators and offensive coordinators can look at that film, take notes, and prepare going forward in the season to exploit the weaknesses that the Redskins expose. If they played 5 games, I have Dallas winning 4 of them. So that one loss, I don't believe that means that the Skins are a better team than Dallas. I just think they caught them.
That wasn't even a question. We all know that.
Yeah, I think they caught them.
The way that they're celebrating here in D.C. makes you know that they know that.
Yeah, they didn't believe they were going to win that game.
I thought I was going to run into parade traffic the other day. Justin, what do you think? How damaging a loss do you think this is for the Cowboys?
Well, it is a division rival, so it's going to happen. There's upsets all the time in division games. The thing that confused me the most about it was Bill Callahan's play calling. If you watch the Cowboys for the first 8 games of the season or 7 games of the season, they always played their jumbo package. They always had Escobar and Witten in. And for some reason, they took both of them out. Witten was in there, but he wasn't doing he's good, he's old, but he's a better player when Escobar's on the field. For some damn reason, Callahan kept taking Escobar out. So to me, it's one loss. It's a division game. It doesn't mean a lot. And like you said, they could go in and lose in Arizona, depending on Tony Romo. But what they need to do is keep giving DeMarco Murray the ball. Every time he gets the ball, he's making magic happen. And he's getting slow starts. We saw it on Monday night. He kept getting the ball, not going anywhere. He didn't get a really good run until the third quarter. So,
and still ended up carrying, 7.1 yards a carry or something crazy like that.
So to me, they got to keep doing that jumbo set. That's what's made them who they are this year. That's their identity. They're a running football team. Having Tony Romo and Dez Bryant helps a lot. With Terrence doing a lot, that also helps. But they're a running football team. They need to get back to it.
Right. So, yeah, and they definitely, offensively they have to do things because, like B. Austin said, that defense, was exposed a little bit, but when they do go up against a better, a real quarterback, that defense might get exposed. So the offense can't start faltering now. All right, so speaking of that game, coming off of that win, let's go to Washington. They go to Minnesota next, and they've decided off of that big win, even though it was led by Colt McCoy, that RG3 is going to make his comeback now against Minnesota rather than waiting till after the bye, which is directly after Minnesota. What do you guys think about that decision? First of all, is that a good decision to play him now, or do you guys think they should have waited until after the bye?
I think he's going to be hurt. He's going to get hurt right off the bat. That's what I don't think he's ready. I don't think he was ready to come back from his ACL. If I was Jay Gruden, I wouldn't bring him back in. I mean, if I was Jay Gruden, I'd trade him. He wouldn't be my quarterback. But
damn. But that's another story.
yeah,
I have a few. Okay,
I think they're rushing him back. I've liked Colt McCoy. I've liked Kirk Cousins. I'm not an RG3 fan, obviously, but I don't think it's time for him to come back. You got a guy that he's a journeyman quarterback. He's been on a couple rosters. He's a smart quarterback, talking about Colt here. Played for the Browns, played for the 49ers. He's been in good systems, never had his chance. But I say you roll with him one more week against a weak defense like Minnesota. But I'm not Jay Gruden, so.
That's a part of the that's the strategy here. You bring him back against the weak defense, and you hope that he's able to catch fire against a defense that is not really.
Minnesota doesn't necessarily have a weak defense.
I agree with that, Dev, but that's the perception because they're a weak team. If they're digging deeper, Minnesota's defense is kind of middle of the road. It's not bad at all, and I believe that RG3 is setting himself up for injury. I agree with Justin, not so much that he's not fully healed, but dude doesn't know how to play quarterback yet. So he's completely dependent upon legs and athleticism. So by default, what is he going to go back and do? Expose himself as a playmaker and try and make plays using his legs against an NFL team that's going to, I feel you. I would consider shutting him down for the season, but the only reason you bring him back is your season is lost anyway. So you want to get him reps and maybe help him learn the game a little bit more. I don't know.
First of all, there's no way they were going to shut him down for the season. And I say that not necessarily for positive reasons. I don't know that Jay Gruden is sold on him. So allowing him to come back fast because it seems like you would have learned your lesson before. If you know 100% that Robert Griffin III is your franchise quarterback, he does not come back this week. This is a kind of sink or swim, prove yourself type of moment. And I really don't know if the coaches are 100% rooting for him to swim.
Yo, you kind of said what I was going to go with it, Dev.
It seemed like a setup a little bit.
That's where I'm going. Yo, the fix is in. They're setting him up for failure, 4 more injuries, 4 more interceptions, and for more Subway commercials. They just want him to go away. So, they want him to go work at his favorite training restaurant and just stay there. So Jay Gruden is bringing him back to intentionally sabotage his career. I mean, that's what it is. I don't
know that. I don't
prove them wrong and put them in a position where they have to make.
And that's the thing. So now, if he comes out and balls out, then it is what it is.
He has to ball out.
I don't know that it's completely a sabotage job, but now that I think of Jay Gruden's history, he is a quarterback. He's a quarterback guy, and Robert Griffin is a running back playing the quarterback position at this point in his career. So I could see that. I mean, Jay Gruden wants a strong-armed, cerebral, pass-first, pass-second type of guy for his system, which is why you see Colt having the success moving the ball, not success winning, not success, with the turnovers, but moving the ball because he kind of fits the mold of what Jay wants. So you guys could be right. You could be right.
That's why I thought Kirk Cousins was going to make Washington a better team.
He stinks, though.
I like him.
He's going to be a guy. He isn't going to get his fair shake because this was his first time actually, really getting the start over a few games, and they're going to take that because, I guess they think the team is better than it might be. So he's not really allowed to make young quarterback mistakes at this point, and he made too many of them. So I think they've given up on him by all accounts here. But back to the RG3 thing, a few things. The fact that, first of all, prior to that Dallas game, the talk with a lot of sources close to the team was that, if by some chance they could, eke out a win against Dallas with Colt at the helm, that would be great because it gives you one more week. You can, you don't fall back in the standings, so you could put Colt out there again against Minnesota, and it buys Robert another week with the bye week to come out, play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So this could be either two things. It could be the little theory that we came up with a couple of seconds ago, or this could be them thinking, okay, we might actually be back in this thing, so let's bring them out now, try to get these wins that, by all accounts down here, they're thinking Minnesota and Tampa Bay are sure wins, so they might just want to, get their guy back in there who they think at this point gives them the better chance to win. I mean, that's a theory also, but I'm still thinking if this is your franchise quarterback and you saw what happened last year when you brought him back too early, why in the hell would you not wait at least one more week for the bye? I don't care.
Franchise player.
Yeah. And you're a first-year coach. I mean, I know Daniel Snyder is quick to pull the plug, but Jay Gruden has a little bit more leash than that. So I don't know if it's right for him to feel pressed to try to go all out to win this year when you have a hobbled quarterback. But sink or swim. Like I said, I don't think they're 100% sure on him, so we'll see how this situation plays out. Speaking of quarterbacks, first of all, did you guys see what Ben Roethlisberger did last week?
Yo, he did a game for the ages. He did it.
Now,
a game for the ages.
The Steelers, along with the New England Patriots, a few weeks ago, everybody seemed to think they were washed up. Now the Steelers are going into this matchup with Baltimore, and we'll do our picks in just a couple of minutes. But they're going into this matchup, both sitting at 5-3. Cincinnati only a half a game on top of these guys. Pittsburgh could, do you guys think that it's possible that they can make a run for this division this season? Because nobody seemed to think that coming into the season.
Somebody picked them on our preview show. I think Frank picked them or whatever.
Did Jim send in his picks? Maybe
I think Frank picked them because I picked Baltimore, and I know you picked Cincy. So I think those three teams are, obviously they're the best teams in the division. There's only 4 teams in the division. But I think it's going to come down to the very end. I mean, those teams play tough games against each other.
Cleveland's 4-3 as well.
Yeah, Cleveland's 4-3, but they're still Cleveland. Like they're going to have to do it over a couple of years for me to believe it. So I mean, it's a tough division. So we'll see what happens, man. Pittsburgh's going to have a shot. They have one of the top receivers in the league. Hate to say that, but he's playing out of his mind, and it's everything. His yak, his route running, his catching. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who said Victor Cruz was better, but y'all crazy. Anyway.
Sorry, but you saw before we did. Jim was still being a homer though.
Jim definitely was being a homer.
He didn't know whether he was this good. He just threw it up.
But it bothers me watching them play because it's like, he's going to him. Roethlisberger doesn't throw the ball to anybody else. Him and Heath Miller.
That's not true. Number 10, wide receiver number 10.
No. This is what I'm saying. Like, he never seems to get doubled. They still give him so much of a cushion. I'm like, how do you allow him? My man will have 15 catches in the game, and they still not pressing him. I don't get it. It is what it is, man. But their offense is clicking. They're moving right now. Defense isn't, the traditional great Steelers defense, but they do enough. I mean, they get stops at the right time. They're not shut down by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, still give up a gang of points and almost let the Colts come back this past week. But, Ben was on fire,
Justin, let me ask you a question. Let me ask Justin a question real quick.
Yeah.
First of all, for anybody who was out of the country, maybe you went to the game in London. By the way, I love that 9:30 game. I watched football while I was eating breakfast. But Big Ben, 81.6% completions, 522 yards, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 150.6 passer rating. Justin, do you think – we know he's not going to do this again, but do you think this will springboard Ben into – a very good season that will keep Pittsburgh in the mix until the very end?
I don't know, because Todd Haley's calling.
Go back to what he was doing, because he wasn't doing this.
Yeah, I don't know, because like I said, Todd Haley's the coordinator. That guy is so bipolar with the football spreadsheet, it's not even funny. I don't think Ben's going to have another game like that. And like Jimmy said, they let the Colts come back. I know Andrew Luck's on the other side. Andrew Luck didn't have the best game. I guess let me answer your question. No, I don't think it's going to continue. He might have some great games, but I really don't think that stat line or even anything close to that, maybe 3 touchdowns is going to be the most we'll see out of him out of another game.
Cool.
Maybe someone will start guarding Antonio Brown. But go ahead, Dev.
All right, well, let's go ahead. Be
my-
Austin. Finish
yeah.
it up.
I mean, Ben was amazing, and the thing that I really appreciated about that game, I got to see the second half, is we always celebrate Ben for his tangible athletic ability and and being able to get away from the rush and extend plays. It seemed in that game like he was on it from a cerebral standpoint. Like the blitz was coming, the Colts were blitzing him heavy, and he was reading it, knew where it was coming from, and getting rid of the football quick, which is something that I know me personally, I don't usually give Ben Roethlisberger credit for being that type of quarterback. So I was very impressed with the performance from that standpoint. They have the tools on the offensive side of the ball. Le'Veon Bell and LeGarrette Blount, the Dutch Master backfield. Those dudes are very talented. The receiving core is young, with the exception of Antonio Brown, untested but very talented. That defense, man, they're not gonna hold up. That defense isn't good, man. Troy is past his prime. Lawrence Timmons can't do it all by himself.
Troy been past his prime like 5 years now.
Yeah, you're right. And the dude Kruger in the middle, or not Kruger, who's the D tackle with the beard? He's tough. But other than that, that D is gonna let them down. Kiesel, yeah. That D's gonna let them down.
Listen, man, bottom line is, at the end of the day, Ben has 2 rings. Not that he won them by himself, but people forget that. It's funny when you talk football, people forget that like he got a couple chips already. And Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, but Bettis was running.
Yeah, this is
that
true.
First one he didn't really contribute to.
Second one he did his thing though. I mean, but at the end of the day, he has 2.
He didn't have Bus against Green Bay. What happened?
Listen, he has 2 though. You can say whatever you want to say. He has 2 championships.
Yes.
And Ben Roethlisberger, like you saw the defense the Colts were playing, and Ben Roethlisberger took whatever he wanted. He's known to take whatever he wants, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Ben Roethlisberger, he displays masterful utilization of the pump fake. That's his best.
People still fall for it.
Best attribute.
Like Andre Miller in the league.
All right, let's get to our games of the week so we can get out of here because Pittsburgh is back in this as well. But let's start off with you, B. Austin. Who you got? Thursday night contest, New Orleans at Carolina. I told y'all New Orleans was going to beat the Packers.
Carolina.
New Orleans.
New Orleans is going there. I'm with you. I think they build off of that win last week, and they go into Carolina.
Panthers quarterback has problems throwing for over 250 yards and problems not throwing to the other team, even though he makes some sensational plays, and that's going to hurt him against Drew Brees.
Jim, who you got?
Well, I'm taking Carolina. Because every time I seem to want to pick the Saints this year, they stink it up, and every time I pick against Carolina, they stink it up. So I'm going like a little reverse right now. I think Carolina's going to win this game. So I'm taking Carolina, taking the home team.
All right. Justin, who you got?
Saints are on the road, so I'll take Carolina 14-10.
There you go.
Okay. Arizona at Dallas. I think this is a difficult one. We'll stay with you, Justin. Who you got in this one?
I haven't decided on this one, but I think I'm going to take Cowboys.
I'm actually the same way. I had decided on this one, because I did the picks from my pick'em pool. However, when I did that, I forgot that there was a chance that Tony Romo might not play. He is day-to-day, so I haven't really decided on this one either. So I could play the fence and say if he plays, if he's healthy.
Oh, come on, man.
No, I'm going to make a pick, but I just want to let you know where my thinking is. If he plays and if he's healthy, I would have picked Dallas because they're at home.
Well, he ain't going to be healthy. You can tell you that right now.
Yeah, but if he doesn't, then I think Arizona will win the game. He's tough, and they kind of know, even though they're running the ball well, he's been the guy, good or bad, to carry this team since his tenure started. So he's tough. He's going to be out there. So I'll pick Dallas to win this game on the bounce back. B. Austin, who you got?
I have the Cardinals. It's in the desert or it's in Dallas?
It's in Jerry World.
It's in Jerry World. Jerry World.
Jura World.
Two
Which
back-to-back
tunnel
losses.
courts around the stadium. Because did y'all see how quickly he was from the box?
He got
Owner's
that
box
technology.
to
He
the
got that
sidelines
technology. He got
Yeah.
that Starks technology. Cardinals.
All right, so let's stay with you, B. Austin. Probably
No,
the biggest.
I ain't make my pick yet. I got the Cardinals. I'll be very brief though. I got the Cardinals. They're gonna beat Dallas. The world is gonna go crazy because Dallas will lose 2 in a row, and then Dallas will win the next 3.
The meme world is going
One
to go
quick
crazy.
thing on this one. Who's that number 11 that played for the Cardinals last week?
That guy is still.
Is that the?
He probably decided to show up. Well, he got the rock. How about that?
Michael
man.
Floyd was
Last time I
hurt.
seen him, he was on a Madden cover.
Floyd was hurt though. Well,
He still got it though. He still got here and there. But go ahead, Dad.
Biggest game of the week. B. Austin, Denver at New England. This seems not even just Denver, but Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady is an every year thing. People think that the league sets that up, but no, it's because they win their divisions every year. So that's their first place team. And sometimes every 4 years, the divisions are playing the divisions. So, B. Austin, who you got? Denver going into Foxborough. 3 weeks ago, Brady was washed out. Now he out here sitting out fourth quarters, letting Garoppolo rock. Bears defenders sacking Garoppolo and dancing, tearing their ACLs while they're dancing.
I mean, when you got a quarterback who's like Jake Cutler.
Clown stuff. Even Tulloch type stuff.
Jeez Louise, this is a tough one. My gracious.
Shout out to Lamar Houston.
Damn, Kaka.
I'm gonna pick Brady.
I'm about to say, you gonna pick Brady, not the Pats. You're gonna pick Brady at home.
Brady. Yeah.
All right, Jimmy, who you
I'm
got?
gonna pick Brady and
squad?
Revis. Brady and Revis.
Your squad versus their squad, Jimmy.
Yo, I'm taking the Broncos. Shot to Fred Purdue. Y'all going down. And I think the Broncos win by multiple touchdowns.
I'm taking the Broncos on this one as well. Gronk is coming into his own. Even Timothy Wright, the backup tight end, is getting in on that action. Brady's playing really well, but what they're doing over there, this is one of the rare times in this matchup between Brady and Manning that Manning actually has the better defense. And even though it's in Foxborough, I'm gonna go with Denver. Justin, who you got?
I'm going to go with the Patriots. Aqib Talib will get toasted repeatedly.
You're a Raiders fan. That doesn't count.
All right, last game of the week. Let's go back to Pittsburgh. Baltimore and Pittsburgh, matchup of 5-3 teams. 2 teams that might be surprising people a little bit. Jimmy, who you got?
Who's at home in this game?
Pittsburgh. Steelers.
I think this is as close as it gets. It's a 24-27 game or a 21-17 game. And I'm just going to pick the home team. I'm going with the Steelers.
All right, I'm going to go with another road win. I'm going to go with Baltimore going in there and getting a win. Steve Smith Sr. Will fight at least 3 D-backs in this game. And they'll take it home. Justin, who you got?
I'll take the Ravens as well.
Yeah, Steve Smith's going to beat everybody up. They're not going to have anybody left back there. B. Austin, Ravens, Steelers.
Ravens.
Yeah,
I'm going
All right. So there you have it. Should be an interesting week, in the NFL. You got a lot of tight races in some of these divisions. You have some teams taking losses that have fans in panic mode. But we'll see how it plays out. So as usual, everybody, make sure first of all, you subscribe to the page so you know whenever a Field Vision episode comes out. Like the video, comment on the video, leave your opinions to all the topics we talked about. Is RG3 coming back too soon? Big Ben and his wonderful day, will that springboard him into a great season? Are the Cowboys done because they lost 1 game to what everybody thinks is a bad team? And also give us your picks for game of the week. Look, make sure y'all check out warroomsports.com, WRSPN.com for our podcast network, and warroomsportstv.com for all of our webcast content. Make sure you go to sports-kings.com to check out everything going on from the Sports Kings, because they cover every single thing that you might want to see and you might want to read about. Sports-kings.com. We're going to get out of here. Make sure you get that mobile app. You can watch these videos on the War Room Sports mobile app as well. That's on iOS and Android. Like we tell you guys every week, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance.
See you chumps on top.
Word.
Kuwait is the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys diversified.